Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Thursday, April 27th. Before we get into the news, please remember to like this video, share your views in the comments, and share the video with your family and friends.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. Two students of Tarrant High School were reportedly rushed to hospital Thursday afternoon after they were injured during a fight at the institution. One student was stabbed in the chest and the other received cuts over his eyes during what is being described as a gang fight. Police were reportedly called to the institution and had to fire several shots to quell the melee. The school was prematurely dismissed as a result of the incident. Some parents turned up to the school after their children called, stating that they were afraid. However, when they got to the school, the gates to the institution were locked. Parents and teachers at the Central Branch All Age on Thursday took to the streets to protest the sudden resignation of the school's principal.
No sir, no school! No sir, no school! No sir, no school! No sir, no school!
They say the principal, Michael Sutherland, resigned because he was constantly being disrespected by a few staff members.
No, we have decided to protest this morning. There has been an ongoing issue with the disrespect that the principal has been meted out by workers who are there. These persons have chosen to go and get ministry involved. They have been making numerous complaints of lies to the ministry, as well as they have also gotten a union delegate to come to represent them.
However, they want Sutherland to be reinstated to his position, arguing that he has done a great job at the school.
I have a daughter attend the Central Branch All Age School in grade 5. She coming home crying yesterday, Mommy, Mr. Sutherland gone. So what I'm here to say today, no sir, no school. If sir don't come back, she won't be at school.
The protesters alleged that there's a particular worker whose contract ended and in wanting to be reinstated has been rude to the school, parents, and also to the principal.
No, these are things that I don't need second-hand information to know. I am here, right? And as a result of that, she has been to ministry and they have chosen to reinstate her. Now the principal, because of frustration, he says he's not staying here once she's being reinstated. And I can understand why.
Mr. Sutherland is a good man, good principal, good father, good everything to the students, everyone from grade 1 to 6. If your children don't have any lunch, you must say, make them come to my office. If I even feed lunch, you must give the student them. So no sir, no school.
The Ministry of Education says principals from across its 7 regions have reported that teachers paid through their bursaries have now received their April salaries. It says all other teachers paid directly from the ministry have also received their salaries. A media release from the ministry on Thursday said Education Minister Favour Williams noted that checks were conducted by the regional offices with the principals and the reports indicated funds had been received. On Tuesday, many teachers reported they had not received their salaries. It followed similar complaints last month, where civil servants had to wait days after the due date to receive their salaries. Detectives assigned to the St. James Police Division have launched a search for 8 other men under investigation for crimes in the parish. The men have been identified as Jim Warren, otherwise called Tano. He is wanted for a shooting with intent. Alex Scott, who is wanted for escaping lawful custody. Kevin White, otherwise called Chucky Don, he is wanted for murder. Javon Campbell, otherwise called Jeff and Cooking Oil, he is wanted for wounding with intent and shooting with intent. Sheldon Gray, otherwise called Red Crime and Yellow Tape, he is wanted for shooting with intent. Daniel Gray, otherwise called Danny and the 10th Floor, he is wanted for wounding with intent. Davian Reed is wanted for rape. Lexroy Vaz, otherwise called Lex, he is wanted for escaping lawful custody. A 72-hour curfew has been imposed in the Denhamtown, Kingston 14 area of the Kingston Western Police Division. The curfew commenced at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, April 26th and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Saturday, April 29th. During the hours of the curfew, All persons within its boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. The aim of the operation is to arrest wanted men, dismantle, disrupt, and deny gangs freedom of movement, search for and seize illegal guns, ammunition, and contraband, and restore public order and public confidence. Robert Fowler will have to wait another week to hear his punishment. His sentencing hearing commenced in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on Thursday, but was adjourned for a week, after which Justice Leighton Pusey is expected to impose a sentence. Pusey said he needed time to ponder submissions made by the prosecutors and Fowler's attorney Lyndon Wellesley. Lead prosecutor Jeremy Taylor in his submissions recommended that along with the mandatory life sentence, Fowler be ordered to serve 20 years in prison before he is eligible for parole. Taylor urged the court to take note of the violent murder rate in Jamaica and pointed to the confessed killer's attempts to conceal the crime by twice moving Jackson's body and dumping her personal belongings in Crossroads, St. Andrew. But Wellesley, in his submissions, urged Judge Pusey to temper justice with mercy. We are like mendicants before you. I use the word mendicants because Mr. Fowler has not wasted the court's time, he said, referring to the discount given to convicts who enter a guilty plea early in their case. The police have taken 2 suspects into custody in relation to an incident along Spanish Town Road in Kingston last week, where a bus with passengers was fired on by gunmen. Several passengers were shot in the attack, including a woman who has since died from her injuries. At least 3 children were also injured in the incident. Head of the St. Andrew South Police Division, Senior Superintendent Kirk Ricketts, says the bus was attacked by gunmen who were chasing a fleeing gangster. The incident reportedly stemmed from an ongoing gang conflict in Seaview Gardens. A curfew was imposed in sections of the community following the shooting. SSP Ricketts says lawmen expect to charge one of the suspects in short order, and they are pursuing at least 3 others. A practical nurse who was shot along the Sandy Bay Main Road in Clarendon on Wednesday has died. She has been identified as 25-year-old Avagay Ellis of Rosewell Road in Sandy Bay. Reports state that about 1:45 p.m., Ellis was on her way home when a black Honda Stream drove up behind her. A man exited the vehicle and opened gunfire, hitting Ellis in the buttocks, hand, and face. Ellis succumbed to injuries on Wednesday night while being treated. A total of 37 people were killed in Clarendon up to April 23rd. The figure shows a 76.2% increase when compared to the 21 murders over the corresponding period last year. Detective Sergeant Sheldon Dobson, whose 18-month-old daughter died after being left unattended in his car for several hours last year, had his case committed to the St. Elizabeth Circuit Court following a hearing on Thursday. Dobson, who appeared before presiding Judge Broderick Smith, is to return to court on July 27th. His attorney Thomas Levine said that Dobson's bail was reduced from $750,000 to $200,000. The body of an unidentified man was discovered along a section of the A.J. Coombs Highway in Montego Bay, St. James on Thursday morning. The body, which is of dark complexion, was discovered lying on its back with the face covered. It is reported that shortly after 8 a.m., a passerby discovered the body at the side of the road in the vicinity of the Bogue sewage plant and summoned the police. The cause of death is not yet known. Minister of Labour and Social Security Carl Samuda has defended the work of his ministry and dismissed criticisms. Minister Samuda and the ministry have been heavily criticized for what many say is a failure to intervene in industrial disputes and act on behalf of workers. During a sectorial debate presentation in the House of Representatives, Mr. Samuda insisted that the ministry has been responding to the claims of the workers and their unions. He says the ministry has been striving for a more harmonious industrial relations climate for workers and their employees amid rising unrest, noting that the 2022-2023 industrial relations climate has been a turbulent one for the country. Mr. Samuda says the Ministry of Labour is reviewing its operations to be able to effectively manage the surge in complaints. In the meantime, Mr. Samuda says the ministry is making progress in settling the dispute between industrial security guards and their employers over a realignment of the industry. Drivers employed to the Montego Bay Metrobus Company in St. James have been on strike since early Thursday morning over alleged deductions from their salaries. 7 drivers turned up at the bus depot this morning but decided to withdraw their services after learning of the alleged deductions. One driver, Michael Johnson, who is also a chief union delegate, said salaries were paid late on Wednesday night. Salaries was paid out late last night, and we were told by management that they were cutting our pay, separate from what the ministry mandated us to get on an hourly basis, Johnson said. We want what the government mandated for us to get and not a cent less. As a result, we are taking a stand this morning because there is no documentation for them to cut anybody's salary here. And no documentation has been shown to the union from the ministry, he added. Hundreds of students and commuters were left stranded due to the strike by the drivers. The Southern Regional Health Authority has confirmed a case of influenza A, H1N1, also known as swine flu, at the Mandeville Regional Hospital. Symptoms of the virus include fever, headache, cough, sore throat, runny and stuffy nose, muscle aches, and extreme tiredness. Persons who experience these symptoms are being urged to seek medical attention. The South Regional Health Authority says that since the outbreak in 2009, the virus has been circulating among the population. In business, Jamaicans are benefiting heavily from the record recovery experienced by the tourism sector over the last year. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett, who opened the sectorial debate on Tuesday, told fellow MPs that tourism contributed $51 billion to GDP in 2022. Citing the long-standing concerns of the massive profits generated by the industry not reaching the average Jamaican, the tourism minister noted that farmers reaped tangible rewards over the last 3 months alone. Minister Bartlett says plans to build houses for workers in the tourism industry are well on the way. In the region, the Belize government has ordered a full and thorough investigation into the circumstances that led to several people, including a 5-year-old child, being rushed to hospital after suffering marijuana intoxication on Tuesday. The Office of the Prime Minister said the investigation will determine the source of some sweet treats confirmed by testing to be laced with marijuana that were ingested by a number of children and adults. Initial information is that the treats were purchased from 2 individuals who are now in police custody, along with some recovered items. On the international scene, one of the most influential and controversial talk show hosts, Jerry Springer, has died. He was 79 years old. According to a family statement, Springer died peacefully Thursday at his home in suburban Chicago. The controversial presenter hosted the Jerry Springer Show for nearly 3 decades from 1991. Prior to his broadcasting career, which included roles as a political reporter and commentator, Springer was the mayor of Cincinnati and a political campaign advisor to Robert F. Kennedy. Springer's talk show was hugely popular with its on-air fights, swearing, and infidelity revelations. Last October, Springer starred in the US version of The Masked Singer. This was one of his final TV appearances. And in sports, JFF President Michael Ricketts says things are coming together nicely for the national senior women's football team as they gear up for a second straight appearance at the FIFA World Cup. Jamaica has been drawn in Group F with Brazil, France, and Panama for this year's tournament in Australia and New Zealand. Ricketts says the federation is making sure coach Lauren Donaldson and his backroom staff will be provided with the practice games and a training camp before they head down under. Ricketts says during the recent one-week camp in England, the JFF took the opportunity to meet with the players to listen to their concerns and to ensure that both parties are on the same page.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here. Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!